Hello, my name is Kimberly and welcome to the Embroidered Elephant channel. Today I am going to be going through all of the granny squares that I've made so far for my granny square book project or book blanket. So for every book that I've finished so far, I have crocheted a granny square based on the cover. So far I have 25. It is not the end of March yet, and I know that I'll have at least 26 so far. So I'm going to be going through some numbers and going through each of my granny squares and trying a couple of different placements so that I can see sort of how big the project is expected to be. How are you all? I hope that you are all well. Let's crack on. So as I said, I'm just going to go through each of the granny squares for now. I'll tell you briefly the name of each of the book and what number it was, and then I will try out different placements of them. And if you would like any more information about any of the books, I have so far done 2 videos about the books that I've read so far this year. It's something that I will continue to do throughout the year. Just post little videos talking about each of the books, giving a short review and talking about my thoughts and the key storyline or the main storyline without spoiling anything. So if you'd like to know more about any of the books, I have put everything in a playlist to do with the book blanket, so you'll be able to see it below. Anyway, so that is not number 1. This is square number 1, is The Strange, Dark and Mysterious book. Book number 2, The Midnight Library. That's by Matt Haig. Choose Your Own Death. This is a greeny sort of colour, but it doesn't come up very clearly on camera. Reasons to Stay Alive, and that's by Matt Haig as well. Number 5 is Fallen by Karin. This is Lost Boy. Number 6. Number 7 is Genesis by Karin. The Butcher Game, book number 8, and that is by Alaina Urquhart. Number 9 is The Skylight, and number 10 is Dead Simple. Number 11 is The Handmaid's Tale. Number 12 is The Trauma Cleaner. Number 13 is The Testaments. Number 14 is Cat Lady, and it is by Dorno Porter. 15 is Brokeback Mountain. Number 16 is Hello Mum. 17 is The Replacement Centre. 18, The Baby Is Mine. 19, Think Again. 20, Where the Crawdads Sing, and that is by Delia Owens. So the next squares that I'm going to go over, I haven't yet spoken about them on a book review video yet. However, they will be in the next one, so hopefully towards the end of this month or the end of next month. Number 21, Lessons in Chemistry. 22, Restless. 23, Tess of d'Urberville. Number 24, I Will Not Be Erased, and that is by Gaudim. Number 25 is Broken and Betrayed, and that is by Jane Senior. I have got another square to make, but I haven't finished it yet, so that's why I'm saying I've definitely got 26 books finished so far. So one thing I just wanted to do is to put them into sections by which books I've managed to get rid of and which are books from the library, so that I can sort of show you which books I've been reading from my stash and which ones are short stories, etc. So let me just do that and I will show you. So sorry about the angle, it's not perfect, but I just wanted to show you the books that I've read and sort of how many I've managed to destash, etc. So these 7 books over this side, those are books that I have just read, and they are books that I own. The next one, which has 8 on it, those are books that I had in my collection, but I also listened to parts of them. So some of the books I half read and half listened to, other books I just completely listened to on audiobook or my library app. But those are books again that I can get out of my stash. The next one with only 3 on, those are the books that I just listened to through the library. So those weren't books that I had in my stash to begin with. So the last row that has 7 in it are the books that I borrowed from the library. So I didn't initially have these books, and most of these were short stories. So The Skylight was a short story, Dead Simple was a short story, The Trauma Cleaner wasn't, Brokeback Mountain was, Hello Mum, The Replacement Centre and The Baby Is Mine. Those were all short stories. These two, Fallen and Genesis, were CDs that I had in my collection. And yeah, obviously I have kept some of the books that were very good for me, or I particularly enjoyed them. Other books I have sold, I've put them on Vinted, or I will put them on Vinted just because I'm unlikely to read them again. So this is my bookshelf. So all of the books here are to be read. Some of them are quite new as well. Some of them are graphic novels. Other ones are just ones that I want to get through. And this pile here are books that I can listen to on audiobook, but I just haven't listened to them yet. So once I finish them, I can sort of get rid of those books from my stash. These books over here, there's 4 just to the side. Those are books that I have borrowed and need to return afterwards. And then sort of the rest of this shelf pretty much, bar a few, are more reference books. They're books that I would go to for sewing advice or things like that. I've got some more CDs to get through as well. Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, I can't wait to listen to. I know that it will be difficult to listen to. I've watched the film, but it'll be interesting to see what it's like in CD form or book form. And yeah, that's my bookshelf. So this stuff just to the side, that's for the guinea pigs when we get them out. We don't leave dirty towels everywhere, but yes. I thought that I would just show you quickly what I'm working with. So my plan for the future is to have just one of these shelves full of books that I really, really love, and the rest of them can sort of go. The shelf down at the bottom is also full of my magazines. They've got different patterns in, so I'm keeping those again for reference. That would be my plan, just to have one shelf full of books that I really, really love. This one is much clearer than it was a while ago. This is my partner's stuff, and just up here is the reason that I would like some more space. We just have so many games that I would really like them to be organised a bit better, and rather than having like loads here and just loads just in random places, it would be good to have sort of 2 shelves full of games that we can use. So yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. So I know you're at a slightly odd angle, but this is the best I can do with the table at the moment. So I know that there are ways that I can position them so that they are better suited. So put the reds together and the pinks together and do it sort of rainbow. I don't want to do that. I want to do it in numbers. And because I've got 25 at the moment, the best way to organise them is to have them in 5s, rows of 5s. So that's why I'm going to start first. I think off the top of my head that is going to be something more so. I think that is going to be smaller than a blanket, so that would probably end up being a scarf size, but I want to try it regardless. So this is how the blanket would look so far. So it is quite small. So let's do some calculations. So each of the squares is about 8 centimetres. So one row is, just say it's 1 centimetre. So by the time they're finished, my plan is to put a border on each of these. So my plan is to put a border on each of the squares. So either white for the book that I finished or grey for an audiobook that I finished. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for books that I have read and listened to. I'm assuming that I will probably do something dependent on what I've done the most of. So I'm going to put a border on each of these, and that will help them to coordinate a bit better as well. So I need to buy some yarn at the end of the year. That is fingering weight and sock yarn as well. So undyed and grey. I don't know exactly how much I need yet, which is why I haven't bought it yet. Anyway, so assuming that I will do a border on each of them and it will be approximately 1 centimetre each side, each of these will be 10 centimetres. So with that assumption, it will be approximately 50 centimetres, which is not too bad. It's not the size of a blanket. I don't really know what that size would be because that's quite big for a scarf as well. It might be more like 40, but again, that's still quite big, or 45. But that's still quite big for a scarf. So the other thing that I was thinking I could do is to have them in rows of 10. So if I was to have them in rows of 10, that's how it would look. So it does look quite good. That is much more blanket shaped. But again, it would be a square blanket. So it'll be 100 by 100 centimetres. So hopefully you can see this because I can't see you. So this is 100 centimetres. So that'll be enough for a blanket, but I would probably want to add to it. So I'm just looking, so it comes up to sort of the tops of my hips. So maybe it would be a 2-year project depending on how much I read this year, or I can just keep it going, or I can just leave it as it is and leave it as a lap blanket. The other thing that I can do as well is to make it into a granny square for sort of a bed runner, but I will say we don't tend to use them that much, so I don't know how useful that would be. But yes, let me show you what they will actually look like, because you've got the writing on the back, which is not helpful. It's very helpful for me because I forget which one's which and what number it is, etc. So all of these have had pictures taken, which is great because that's very easy to forget, especially if they're library books. I don't know if I said this at the beginning as well, but doing the calculations, I should be able to get through around 100 books, if not a bit more. Don't know why you're so wonky. So this is the blanket so far. I must say I'm very happy with it. Usually I'm not a massive fan of colours being very vivid or conflicted. I'd prefer it to be in rainbow order, but so far I look at this and I just smile because I know that each of these is a book that I finished and each one is a story that I've got through, and I'm actually quite proud. I'm not crying, I've just got something in my throat. I'm really proud so far. Some of these are really classic books. such as The Handmaid's Tale, Where the Crawdads Sing. That's become a bit of a classic, I'd say. What other ones? Tess of D'Urberville. Restless, apparently, as well. Lessons in Chemistry is very well known. The Midnight Library is very well known. So yeah, I'm really happy with what it's looking like so far. And as I said, I will continue building this. So what I was thinking about as well is when I do eventually buy the yarn to finish off the blanket and I crochet the edging and weave in all the ends, which I haven't started doing yet. To make this blanket, I have used little balls of yarn that I have unpicked from a project that someone else did. So they'd made their own squared crochet blanket. I wasn't a massive fan, I didn't have the pattern to continue, and so I ripped back all of the yarn and I frogged it all. So I have about 4 grams or 3 grams of each hand-dyed fingering weight yarn, and they're just all random. That's where the colours come from. When I finish the square and there has always been a bit of yarn left over, I join it to this ball. Now I can't remember the name of this ball, as in what it's called in the crochet community, but you can see how many different colours are on there. You can see the blues and the oranges from this square. You can see the darker colours from this one. And it's just so cool, I love it. So yes, every time I finish a square, I've made this. And my plan at the end is to do a border around the edge, probably a granny square border, to be honest, and just to be really unique. But I think that will tie the whole blanket together. And because this is a mix of all of the yarn that I've used so far, I'm just really, really looking forward to seeing the finished blanket and seeing what it looks like, because I'm sure that this will go around the whole blanket at least once, hopefully. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So my plan is to do one final round on each of them, or I could make it 2 final rounds if that would be better for size of the blanket, in either white if I have read the book, grey if I've listened to an audiobook, or I guess if I'm doing 2 rounds I could do 1 white, 1 grey if I've read and listened to the audiobook, but that's to be thought about. And then for the edge, I'm going to do that in white probably. Then I'm going to have the really colourful border, and then I'll probably tie it off in either white or grey depending on what I've got left. If I wanted to make it bigger or longer, I could add a couple more rows between each of the final rows of granny squares, so I could crochet them all together, do the 2 extra rounds, and then add 2 rounds at the bottom, and then for the next one I could add 2 rows at the top, 2 rows at the top. So then you would be making it bigger between each row so that the blanket is just a bit longer. I will probably look at doing some either crocheting a square or crocheting something to do with the year, or embroidering it so that I've got a memento of what year this was and what the project was, because in 30 years I might have forgotten, but yes. And that's basically all of my thoughts on the blanket so far, but that is how it's going. I really love the look of it so far, and I have at least 1 more square to add to the mix, so it's going really well. But yeah, I'm hoping, so what I'm hoping in the next 3 months or so is that I will be getting through more books on my bookshelf than library books. So when I borrowed a lot of the library books, it's when I first joined the library, and it was just very appealing to me, whereas now, and it should have been at the start to be fair, my main motivation is getting books off the bookshelf, and I can see such a difference already. Yeah, so that will be my main motivation, listening to audiobooks of books that are in my library or just reading the books I've got. So yeah, I'm hoping to be down a lot more books already. So yeah, I think I did say this, but based on my calculations, rough calculations, this is how many books I will be through this year if I carry on the way that I'm going. So I finished 26 books in 3 months. That should be 52 books in 6 months, 78 in 9 months, and 104 in 12 months. Again, that is assuming that I read at the same pace. Now, I know that some of the books that I listened to were short books, and a lot of the books that I read from the library were short books as well. So whether this is achievable or not is another conversation. But if I carry on the way that I'm going, that's how many books I'll be finished. And I think I've only got, I don't know how many books I've actually got in my collection, to be fair. So in terms of books that are in my library just over here, I've got 75 books at the moment. And I have got 6 CDs. So 81 books and CDs to go through from my library. And I know that there are at least 6 of those books that are that I can listen to through the library. So that will be quicker to get through. As I've discussed before, I like listening to audiobooks on my journey or during my dead time. So driving to work, doing the washing up, doing errands around the house. It's just so much easier, and it's quicker to get through books as well. Whether they're enjoyable as much, that is a question, but I really love them. It just depends on the author, really. But yes, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you are all well, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. If you have any questions, as always, drop them below, or my email address is listed as well. So I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Take care, all the best. Bye. Just as some last minute advice, just in case you are doing this project yourself, you may have a better solution, but this is what I use. To organise each of the squares, I just use little sewing clips, and I just write the number and the name of the book on it, and that just helps me keep them all organised. Other than that, I keep them in my craft room, my office, and I have just kept them on a little sort of pegboard so that they are all organised and they're all in order as well. So yeah, I make sure that I take pictures before I put them there, and then I just keep a tick list of all the ones that I've made, which ones I've taken pictures of, which ones I haven't, and yeah, quite organised, but hopefully it'll work.